Yo, 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 it's your boy Squirrel, man. Smoke session with Squirrel. We got another good episode for you today. Who do I got in the building with me today?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Clancy.
Let the people know where you're from and let them know what you do.
Hell yeah. So I'm a singer, songwriter, and I'm out here in Boston, Massachusetts.
How's the music scene in Boston?
I mean, it's great, dude. I love it out here, and like we have a lot of talented musicians out this way. Not even just within like the parameters of the Berkeleys and stuff like that, but like the underground scene is flourishing. We got a lot of like really talented folks. We're super slept on out here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know, but I didn't know there was even like a real big music scene over there. That's why I'm glad you said that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it goes back. Boston's underground scene has been historically dope. Not even just like the hip hop world, but also like the punk rock world and like the hardcore scene out here is huge. The alternative scene. I mean, shit. You think about some of like the biggest rock bands, and they all came from out here too. So we've always had a music scene. People just tend to overlook it.
Um, how long have you been into music? When did you start getting into the music?
Oh man. Let's see. I started writing when I was probably like 8 years old, to be honest.
8?
8. Yeah.
What gave you that inspiration? Like as an 8-year-old kid, a lot of kids aren't wanting to do music. You know what I mean?
I saw it as like a vessel, you know what I mean? Like I saw it as like a vehicle for the way that I was feeling to like get it out, you know what I mean? So I was always writing and like writing these like made up songs. And because I came up and I listened to like really emotional music, you know what I'm saying? Like and I had a very eclectic taste at a young age. And I saw a lot of my favorite artists, what they did was they like specifically like Tupac, you know what I mean? Like he felt a certain way, he put it on paper and he made a song about it. And shit like that really inspired me to kind of do it on my own.
So you start writing at 8. When did you decide to actually get into the studio and start actually recording music?
Um so actually I got like a little studio set up at my house when I was probably like 11 years old or something like that, 12 years old. Um and the first time I went to like a legit studio, I think I was maybe 14, maybe 13 or 14. And it was just like no looking back after that. So I've been doing this for forever. It's the only home that I've ever really known was like studios, tours, shows, shoots. Like that's home to me.
What kind of genre category would you place yourself in? Because I've heard you do so much different type of music. It seemed like.
Yeah. Ah man, thank you. I love that too. Like I hate to like pigeonhole myself into like one thing because I can do many things. You know what I'm saying? But I would say like it's somewhere like alternative pop, alternative hip hop, a little bit.
Because you can hear the soul in your voice too, though. Like when you're singing your hooks and stuff too. Like I said, there's a lot about you in your music, though. That's what's dope. I did hear you say in an interview before that you listen to a lot of different types of music, so that I can tell by when you record or when you drop music how it sounds so different and not just like a normal sound you would hear.
Hell
Um,
yeah, thank you,
I know I know you said I know you just said something about Tupac, but who were some of your musical influences growing up?
man. Growing up, like I listened to literally everything. So you remember back in the day where they had like the music choice shit, and if you like picked one CD, you could have like five with it. It was like a
Yeah.
record label like promotional thing. So my dad would get these catalogs, and when I would go and visit him on weekends, he'd get the catalogs and he'd pick out like a CD for him, and then I would pick out the free ones. So like my thing was I really was into like album art and like cover art. So I just picked like the most interesting cover art that I could possibly find. I didn't know anything about genres. I didn't know anything about anything. I just really loved the cover art and I wanted to hear what the cover art sounded like, if that makes sense. So I would walk around with this little like Yankee Candle bag of albums. And dude, I'd be like 9 years old and I had like Rage Against the Machine in there. Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, Stevie Wonder in there, but then I also had like Busta Rhymes and fucking NWA and The Chronic and like all of the like Dipset. I was a huge Dipset kid. I could rap Dipset like volume 2 start to finish by the time I was like 10 years old. Like the whole entire album. I loved Dipset. Um so yeah, I mean, like I had all of that, and I feel as though like, who I am today is kind of like an amalgamation of like all of that stuff that I grew up on. So like the Motown, and then like the golden era hip hop, and then like the Lil Wayne, and also on top of that, like a lot of like grunge and like '90s rock. So like Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden, and Rage Against the Machine. Like I said, I really fucked with Ben Folds back then too, like Elton John. I just listen to so much music, bro.
That's dope though. That's why your music sounds like a wide range and it's not
Yeah,
just
it's
one category.
everything. Yeah, it's everything, dude. It's everything.
So you said you got into the studio when you started recording around 11, between 11 and 14. Um, what was the first song that you dropped that kind of got the attention or got you buzzing in your city?
Ah, when I was 16 years old, right, I put out this song called, no, I was like 15. I put out this song called Slide. And I sampled the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Other Side. Like I produced it and all that shit. And I sampled the Other Side by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I shot a music video to it. And the theme was like, it was like about teen suicide, right? And I remember this thing got like maybe 50,000 views on YouTube, and like for a 15-year-old kid, like that was huge, you know what I mean? So I dropped out of high school as soon as that shit came out. But yeah, that was like the first thing that like really, really got me like buzzing. And people kind of started seeing me for who I was and what I was about to do. So yeah, I would say that. I would say Slide.
That's dope. And I was reading your story, like throughout that process, you started to get addicted to opioids.
Yeah, man. Definitely. And that's like what kind of hindered that process. So long story short, I was like dabbling and stuff when I was a kid and growing up, and I knew I had a taste for like XYZ substance, but I wasn't necessarily hooked on it. What had happened was, long story short, uh, I had to get a surgery. I got chronic kidney stones. Growing up, I had chronic kidney stones, and if you've ever had that, you know it fucking sucks. Like it's the worst pain in the whole entire world, right? So I had the chronic kidney stones, and yeah, like they gave me Percocet as my prescription to deal with the pain, and they had me on it for a prolonged period of time. I was probably 16 years old at the time, uh, and yeah, I was on it for like 3 months, and then one day they were like, "Okay, you can't get no more." There was no wean down process. There was nothing. They were just like, "Okay, good luck." So I didn't know that I was dope sick. My body tricked my mind into thinking that I was still in pain from the various surgeries. It's what's called phantom pain, right? And the only way I knew how to treat that pain was from what they prescribed me, which was Percocet. So I went and I sought that drug out on the street when they stopped prescribing it to me. Um, and then one thing led to another, and like I was in full fledged addiction. Um, I didn't understand what was happening to my body when I didn't have it. I didn't know what it was like to be dope sick until one day I woke up and I was sick without it, and I knew that I needed it, and I couldn't stop. You know what I'm saying? So that happened, and then of course, one day you show up to the spot and you can't afford, Percocet, and they're like, "Yo, we got something stronger for you that'll feel the same, and it's cheaper." And down the rabbit hole you go. A lot of people don't make it back, man. I'm very lucky that I'm here today.
Yeah, and that's real dope that you got through that, man. And I commend you for that. I did see you worked you did something with the city or something about um recovering artists, recovering addicts or something like that.
Yeah, man. I do a lot of stuff. I try and use my platform tastefully. And I say that because like there's a really thin line between a cool story and something that's like corny or like very sellout. Like I when I use my platform, it's tasteful in a sense of like giving back for the sake of giving back and being genuine. I don't do these things in order to like boost my persona as an artist. I do these things because I'm also like a person in long term recovery, and if I can give back to the community when I can and how I can, I do it. So I do a ton of shit as far as that goes. I try and keep it separate from like my work, you know what I mean, as a musician, and I don't let it affect like what I have going on because, like I said, you know, the thin line. You walk a very thin line, um, and I never want to feel like I'm grabby. You know what I mean? Like I'm an artist when I'm in the studio, and when I'm out of the studio, I'm a person in long term recovery. So, but yeah, I do a lot with the city. I work with kids that are in recovery on the music. I'm a music teacher at a alternative high school, and I'm in the process of starting my nonprofit organization. So I'm really stoked about that.
How do you think? Um, do you think that the opioid crisis is bigger now or bigger back when you were into it?
I mean, man, it's been ripping through Boston and its surrounding areas, Massachusetts, New England, since I can remember. I think it's a generational thing and it's an epidemic, and it doesn't get talked about enough, and it doesn't get seen as that enough. You know,
Because I mean, I
so
know
it's
before you were saying Percocets and stuff, but now with fentanyl, it's kind of like it overtook everything else. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, dude, oh yeah. I mean, shit, I got incredibly lucky because fentanyl didn't come onto the scene until I got clean, which was in the end of 2013. So it was just starting to trickle in. So I've done it before, and it is extremely powerful and it is deadly. That's for damn sure. Um, but it's turned into a whole other thing because, back then, like a lot of people, they would go out and they would get high and like, they got high. But now it's like they go out, they get high and they just fucking die. There's no in between, or like a lot of people I know, like they'll relapse and like before fentanyl came on the scene, like you'd relapse and it would be like, the whole relapse thing, you ruin your life or whatever, and then you'd hopefully make it back. But now it's like you relapse, you don't even get a chance to ruin your life. You just die first time. All it takes is that much fentanyl to fucking kill you. So it's scarier now. It's terrifying. I've lost anywhere from 65 to 70 personal friends, all under the age of 35 from overdoses, and that is not an embellished number. And then those are not acquaintances; those are actual numbers in my phone.
I think a lot of people they're chasing that next high, and I don't think they realize how powerful this shit is, especially with people cutting it different ways and shit now. Like back, not to say it like this, but back in the day, someone could just do a drug and not have to worry about it being cut with fucking household cleaners or any fucking
Exactly,
thing. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
so
xylazine now is a thing. Xylazine is like a very, very powerful horse tranquilizer that Narcan can't cut through. And they're cutting a lot of bags with that, so it's very scary out there.
um, so I seen you linked with the artist Atmosphere, and you said it changed your life. Tell us a little bit about that and what happened that changed your life.
Oh yeah, man. So growing up, like I always looked up to Atmosphere, right? Like they they were one of my favorite artists, coming up, and like Slug as a writer is like probably in my top five. Because there, he shows such a vulnerability, and like that's something that I take after in my writing as well. And I'm a strong believer in like vulnerability trumping everything. Like if you make a hit song, you have somebody's ear for like 3 minutes. But if you make a song that touches on the heartstrings that people can really relate to, you have their heart forever. And like that's a fan that you'll never lose, for as long as you know. Because that's how I am. Something if I can relate to something on a deeper level than just surface, I'm there. So what happened was I was approached to like do some promotion for his show. He was playing at the House of Blues over here in Boston, and I was like 19 at the time or something, and I was like, okay, cool. And I got thrown on an email thread about the show, like, and I was just passing out flyers for it. You know what I'm saying? and I saw that his email was on it, like his personal email. And I was like, oh, no fucking way, right? Like Slug's personal email. So I emailed him and I did what any other 19-year-old super fan kid would do. And I just told him I worked at a radio station and I was going to interview him. And I didn't work at a radio station, and I just fucking showed up and met him. You know what I mean? And we were introduced by a friend of mine called Dart Adams. He's like a triple OG in the Boston scene. He knows everything. He's like a walking almanac, right? So he introduced me, and like, it was amazing. I was hanging out with my idol when I was like 19. I'm talking about like Prince, for 2 hours and stuff. But every single time I've ever spoken with him, he's always dropped gems on me. And one of the things that he said was like, you have to get really, really good at failing. Like, you got to be even better at failing than succeeding, because in order to get to that level, you need to just fuck up so many times, and it's just so much trial and error. But like, you're automatically losing if you don't just execute. No matter
Yeah.
how fucked up it gets, you're fucking up if you don't execute. And to hear that, you know what I mean, from my idol when I was at a crossroads in my own career creatively, really pushed me forward. So yeah, I mean, we wound up keeping in touch throughout the years, and yeah, I mean, I look up to him as like a mentor type shit. Like, he has taught me so much. Um, Even just like watching him and like throughout the years as a fan and as a peer now, which is amazing. So yeah.
So with that same way, how you reached out to him, how does it feel when fans reach out to you and tell you about their stories that they're battling and things they're going through that relate with what you're speaking on?
I mean, it's amazing. It definitely feels good to know, um because I started this from a place where I didn't want to feel so alone, so I was writing. You know what I mean? The rest was subjective. I just didn't want to feel as alone as I was when I was a kid. And now, when people are reaching out to me saying that my music made them feel less alone, it's a full circle moment, and it's very gratifying. So that's why I keep doing what I do. On the days that I can't do it for myself, I do it for the people that I've impacted.
That's dope, man. Like I said, I know it gotta feel good because you were once that kid reaching out to the person that you admired, and now there's people reaching out to you, telling you how you changed their life and what they've been doing.
Yeah, yeah, of
Um.
course, man.
So tell us about your debut album, The Color Blue.
Man, so that was a special one. It was a lot. I mean, it took about like a little over a year and a half to make. It was with me and my producer Knox, and it really started with this song "TV Dinner." And "TV Dinner," I just moved to a new neighborhood, so I had to wave hi to the
Wave
neighbors.
to the fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I started with this song "TV Dinner," and it was the first song I ever sang on. I never sang before, right? Because coming up,
I had my
coming
kids just got home too, so I had to wave.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. We're just doing our respective waving. I love that. Um, like, coming up in the underground Boston scene, like, I was a rapper. You know what I mean? Like, I was like a boom bap, like, freestyle on stage, like, throw me words from the audience while somebody beatboxes rapper. Like, I came up in that scene. Um, but I always felt like I could bring more to the table. I always felt like something wasn't connecting. And one day I got up with Knox, and we started messing around with this beat, and I started like crooning on it a little bit and singing on it, and it just felt natural. Like, it just, when something just clicks and it just feels right, like it just makes sense to you.
So
Um,
you just taught yourself then? Because
mhm.
this time when I hear, I'm like, you got a different, like I said, you got a different tone, but it's like your own style. Like you're not following behind anybody or anything. Like you have a unique sound.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm self-taught, man. Like, I'm self-taught singing, I'm self-taught piano, I'm self-taught guitar.
Hey,
Um,
literally, I can show you. That was one of my questions. If you were self-taught with the instruments, because I seen you with the instruments. That's how you know you're made for music. Because a lot of people can't teach themselves how to play the piano or the guitar. Like those are two of the hardest things to teach.
mm, yeah, it's definitely difficult, man. I will say that, like, teaching myself piano was probably one of the greatest gifts I ever gave to myself. Just because once you have like an understanding of the keys, like, you can kind of that it translates to every single instrument, including your voice. You know what I mean? So it's helped me with pitch. It's helped me with like, understanding the guitar and like what certain chords sound like and like what doesn't sound right and everything like that. Um, but yeah, man, just completely self-taught. So when I did that on the Color Blue, I was like, yo, this feels right. It feels different. It doesn't feel like anything that's being made in the city right now. I put it out and the reception was bananas. Just that one single. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow suit with this. And yeah, that's how I made the Color Blue. And like, it was super emotional, man, because I remember rolling that album out and my dad died in the midst of the rollout for the album. Like, he passed away um, less than a week after the album release show. You know what I mean? And then 2 days after he died, I'm on the road. I'm on tour. You know?
That that has to be kind of crazy because like your dad didn't really get to see your whole musical journey with dropping the projects and like what you're doing now. And I
No.
seen that you say that he was one of the influences of always having all the different types of music and having you around that shit. So that, I mean, that's dope. That, I mean, it's dope that you can still do it, but it'd be dope to just have him there for that part. I know that's what probably pushes you through the shit that you do now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some like I like to think that he can see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to think that like his presence is there and he sees like the big shows and like the fans and like the music that I make now and like because I didn't even play. I think I only played piano when he passed away and I was just getting started on learning how to play it. And he would always tell me like, oh, you need more guitar in your songs, like you need guitar and this and that. And like now I've evolved and I literally play with like a band and I sound like a rock band when I'm live. You know what I mean? You saw me in Grand Rapids and I'm like, damn, like, that's one of the things that really fucks me up sometimes, especially when I think about it. But one of my last memories of him was like just how proud he was, like holding up this Boston Globe article that was written about my album, and like I remember just coming and like seeing him reading that. Um,
I actually, I I had that on my thing too. I was gonna ask how that felt being from there and coming with your own style, being on the Boston Globe, one of the biggest newspapers that there is. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, it felt really good. But also it was a double-edged sword. I mean, this last time, a couple of years ago, maybe like 2 years ago or something, when they did the last write-up on me, that was amazing. I loved that because it was more focused on like my journey as an artist in my music. But that Boston Globe article was more centered around my recovery and being
Right, your
this like
recovery.
artist that happens to be in recovery. And I think it was a timing thing because that came out and I have my face on the cover, right? And it just says in big bold letters recovery, right? Um and to have that out there, oh wow, like my dad just died, like I couldn't grieve in a way that I needed to um, because everything was just so publicized at the time, and I felt as though I had to hold myself to a certain standard because I was almost put on this like pedestal, so to speak, of like, this is like the recovery guy in Boston. When really, like, I'm struggling so bad, like I don't even know if I want to be sober through this, like literally, like holding on for dear life, you know. So that was an insane time in my life, bro. Like, and that's what made me the man I am today was just those trials and tribulations. Because, man, let me tell you, like, dealing with that, um, you know, directly following the release of that album, boom, my dad dies. 2 days later, boom, I'm on band's Warp Tour, which was fucking massive, right? I remember we played a show at the Xfinity Center, which is like a fucking arena in Massachusetts, right? And then I had to go hang back, do the fucking eulogy for my dad at the funeral, and then that night back on the fucking road in the van, driving to North Carolina. You know, I mean, it was an absolute mind fuck. You know what I mean? But shit, that'll turn you to a man quicker than anything. Really,
Man,
it was a lot.
that's crazy. And then to go from dropping that first project and then to be right on the fucking Vans Warp Tour, like that was a huge tour for the people that don't know, tell the people some of the big names that were on that tour with you.
Man, it was like I remember like 303 was headlining, and like I think like five. Day to Remember. I don't even remember. Movements was on it. I love Movements. I'm a huge Movements fan. Chelsea Grin was on it. There were a lot of really, really big
A lot
names
of big names.
within like the alternative rock scene and like the hardcore scene and stuff. So it was really cool.
Your recording process. I heard you say that you produced that song. Do you produce all your own music?
Nah, so like I'll like do like co-production and stuff, but it's always a hive mind attempt. Um, so what I'll do, I work with a couple people, but my primary producer is Knox Beats. And he actually does a ton of shit with Webby too. But I'll work with him, or I'll work with Leo's son, or I'll work with my guy Kyle. And typically we start from scratch. Like I'll walk into the studio with nothing. I don't really write that much outside the studio. I'll come up with like ideas on the piano, or I'll come up with ideas on the guitar. But when it comes to like writing full songs, I do it in the studio primarily. Um, but I'll come in and it's all organic, all from scratch, all on the spot. So like I'll write the songs on the spot. You know what I mean? I'll come up with an idea, and I'll alley oop it to my producer, whoever I'm working with at the time, and they'll put their spin on it, and I'll write to it. I'll lay the vocals down, and like, you know, it's all very organic. It's all very natural. Um, I like to think of my mind as like a net, and when I'm outside of the studio, I'm just collecting. You know what I mean? I'm collecting inspiration, I'm collecting feelings, I'm collecting good times, bad times, whatever it may be. I get to the studio and I just flip it over, you know?
That's dope. Um, so when a lot of people hear of Boston, it's always the talk of like the mob culture in Boston. Is there really a mob culture in Boston?
I mean, not my generation, no. No. I mean, it's there, but like not really. It's like that in Providence a little bit, though, I will say. But nah, of course, like there's like the Winter Hill Gang and like Whitey Bulger and shit like that. But that was all before my time, really.
Um, tell us about the Ugly Parts EP.
Man, Ugly Parts is probably like one of my favorite things I've ever made as a whole, like as a body. And pretty much it was like my swan song. Like it felt like it was supposed to be my swan song. And I say that because at the time I was living in LA and I was in a very toxic relationship, and like I had lost everything, right? And this was like during COVID and like being stuck across the country, and like because I moved out there and everything was going according to plan, and then next thing you know, boom, the world shuts the fuck down. All my money got fucked up. I literally had nothing. I was like 60 pounds heavier than I am right now, and I flew back to Boston to have like 2 weeks in the studio with Knox, right? And through the creation of that, like I was literally crawling out of my fucking skin. Like I was crawling out of my skin, like struggling with like all sorts of suicidal thoughts, and like I was super raw when I made that album, and I was just like, okay, fuck it. And also, a lot of that album is like the first time I ever played guitar on record, you know. So like the intro, you can hear me say like something to the effect of like, "This is my first time recording a guitar, so bear with me," or something like that. It's very low in the intro, but yeah. I was super raw, man, and I was trying a new style because my thing was like when I was in LA, I was doing all these like fucking pop songs, and like I would go to these sessions, and I did a lot of co-writing out there, and I'd go to these sessions, and man, it was just fucking exhausting. Like you want these upbeat, happy pop songs, and like you know. You'd go in and the A&Rs would be like, "Oh, we want this to sound like Lizzo," and fucking exhausting, bro. And like I just wanted to go to the studio and make the darkest shit possible over major chords. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I fucking did. Noose is literally a suicide note over major chords.
Yeah, Noose. I checked out Noose. Noose is, see, that's what's dope though. Is like you're creative, but you're not afraid to show your actual thoughts in your music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I try and be as open as possible, you know, and that's something that I constantly have to remind myself is like, you need to open up, you need to open up, you need to be vulnerable because people, it's tangible. People hold on to that. You know, it's really important that I do that.
Um, Tell us about your relationship with Webby, with Chris Webby.
Oh man, I love Webby, dude. So like, we met, I want to say in like 2017. I did a show with Token in Boston, and he was a special guest. So we met really briefly backstage. He heard me do a song out there, and he was like, "Yo, that was dope." And I was like, "Thanks, man." And then like our paths crossed again, just in passing. Like I pulled up on him at like this Boston show because he's close with my producer Knox. So I went with Knox to his show in Boston, and we hung out again, and we were talking, whatever. Um, and then Knox sent me this beat for it wasn't even for Webby, it was for a different artist. And he was like, "Yo, throw a hook on this. This guy wants to work with you." And he I guess the dude was talking about getting Macklemore on the fucking song. I don't know, dude. It was the most random shit ever, but I had nothing going on. So I cut it in my living room, and it was Lord Knows. Um, can you promise not to tell nobody that I might have just lost control? I cut that in the living room of my apartment in LA, right? And I sent that back to Knox. I didn't hear back for a while. And then one day Knox hits me up and he's like, "Yo, so and so isn't using that song anymore, but Webby heard it and really fucks with it." And I'm like, "Oh shit." Um, and then, yeah, I went back, we revised the hook, and then I linked up with Webby and like we shot the music video. Webby really fucked with me. And it was like, you know, we kind of clicked right there. And yeah, it was all super organic. It wasn't forced. Like it was just, you know, it just happened. Like the universe just put it together. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And then we made Superstar together. I pulled up to his crib, and it was him and JP on the track. And I pulled up and I just start playing the keys, like the intro on Superstar, and like the keys, that's me. And I start, take it all and say it's not enough. Um, I started playing that, and I probably wrote the hook with JP. It took like 10 minutes, and it was like boom right there, and I knew, I was like, this is fuck sick, and we've just been running it up ever since. He's like one of the only dudes that is really like, a lot of people talk the talk, but they don't follow through. And like he follows through. Like if he says he's gonna do something for you, he's done it every single time. That's a really solid guy right there. Super solid dude. I owe him a lot.
Yeah, that's where I actually got to see you for the first time, like you said, in Grand Rapids, with him, Echo, and Stevie Stone. I saw you on tour with them.
Yeah,
Um, how do you enjoy touring as an artist?
man, it's my favorite thing in the whole entire universe. Honestly, it's my favorite thing in the world. I love touring so much, dude. Um, it's a blast.
It shows in your live performance because you got the energy on stage. Like
Thank
you're
you.
not just standing there, like you're interacting with the crowd. You're on top of the crowd, like whatever. Like
Yeah.
you're out there having fun and shit.
I mean, it's my favorite thing. It's performance art. It's live performance. You know, it's my favorite thing. And like my band throws the fuck down, and it's you just go and you get up there and you have a fucking good time. You know, and if it 9 times out of 10 it translates to the crowd. They have a good time too. The energy is so tangible in the room. You know, I just fucking go crazy. I love it, man. I love playing shows. I want to tour forever. Damn, that was crunchy as fuck, bro.
Fuck yeah,
That was a crunchy cough, dude.
yeah,
That
hell
one
yeah.
was crazy.
Um, Tell us about the follow up EP when you drop Broken Parts.
Broken Parts was sick, man. It was one of those things where, again, like I got up with Knox and like it just came out organically. And you know, I wrote like one of my favorite fucking songs of all time, "Run from the Devil." I love that record. I still think that it can fucking go. That's a huge record. Um, and yeah, I was just off the heels of the other release, and I was super excited. And I put in some different elements that kind of switched some shit up. A lot of it was a little left field, and a lot of it was right on the fucking button. And it was just a continuance of the ugly parts, but not so on the nose.
How was it riding the horse through the city?
Man, I was terrified of horses, bro. I was hella scared of horses. Mainly because I don't know how, like, I don't trust them. They're huge, dude. Like, I don't know how the horse feels about me as a human. Um, so that was the first time I ever rode a horse. And I only met the horse like 3 days prior. So I reached out to the people that have the horse. And they like pulled up on me in my neighborhood, and like I rode the horse around and I got to know it. Cause I guess like you really need to like that the horse needs to feel your energy before it lets you ride it. So it needs to meet you. You need to like get acquainted with it. And then yeah. So I learned how to ride and mount and dismount a horse in 3 days, and then I fucking sent it down the street with it. I had to shut the whole entire street down, dude. Police detail, like all sorts of gnarly shit. And then in front of the horse, there was we had a truck, and then in the bed of the truck, we had the camera on a fucking on a crane. So the crane was like this in front of the horse, and we had to time it perfectly so that when the horse came, it was like this, like a steady thing. And like I do all the treatments for my videos, and like so all the concepts and shit just come from my crazy fucking head. Um, so I remember making that song, and I was like, "Yo, this feels like I'm riding a fucking horse." You know what I mean? And yeah, I just rode a horse, dude.
That's how I actually seen you the first time. The video must have came on my feed, or there was a video I was watching and it popped up, and I was like, that shit was wild. Like the truck looked like it's on fire. The truck's on fire over here.
Yeah,
You're riding a horse. I'm like, and then your
yeah.
tone was different. Your tone was different. Like I love all types of music, and your tone was just different, man. So I tapped in then, and then just
Thank
so
you.
happened, I guess I seen you in Grand Rapids, and I wish we could have made it happen then, like we were, I wanted to, but hey, sometimes time wasn't right. Maybe time wasn't right.
Right, fuck it. It's all good, man.
Uh, um, how was it being nominated for the Boston Music Awards for Pop Artist of the Year?
I mean, it was cool, man. I'm a six-time Boston Music Awards loser. They've just nominated me, and I've just lost every single fucking time. So at this point in the game, I'm like, all right, dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate it. That's fucking cool. But I'm more gratified when somebody reaches out to me and says that I changed something in them or about them or the way that they look at things. That's the most gratifying thing. That's the most validating feeling, is getting new fans. Everything else is subjective, you know? That's like the main thing. In order to build this shit brick by brick, you getting new fans and like consumers, people that are gonna come and see you, people that are gonna fuck with you and support you and lift you up. Everything else is bonus points, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool in theory though.
In theory, um, I see that you're going to be doing the Boston Ceilings Music Festival. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, the Boston Calling shit?
Yeah, Boston Callers.
Oh man. I mean that was really cool. That's really, really cool because that's something that I've wanted to do for a long time now. And it's something that I put into the universe. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna play that shit. You know what I mean? And I actually found out that I was playing that festival um the day I left for that tour where I met you. Um I was literally in the bathroom taking a shit, and I got the email, and it was like, we want you to play Boston Calling. And I was like, no fucking way, dude. And I freaked out, and all my band was waiting for me. They were all in the van, dude. And like, I finished doing my thing, and I remember running out there, no shoes, no socks. And I was like, yo, we're playing Boston Calling. Yeah. It was fucking sick. It was so, I mean, I'm really excited. It's definitely a huge milestone.
Especially like coming from Boston, like that has to be a big thing there. I mean, you got some big names on there, so like it's dope to see you on that day, and I'm sure you're gonna kill that shit.
Thank you, man. Yeah, definitely. It feels good. It's a W. It's definitely a W, bro. coming from like playing shows in these shitty basements or playing shows and only like two people showing up and like just building it out brick by brick, day by day, and over the course of time, it just turns into that. You know, it's a true testament to like when you put that energy out into the universe, it gets reciprocated. You know, you just got to stay consistent with it. So I'm just riding that.
Okay. One of your most recent singles, Strip Mall. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So Strip Mall was kind of just like it was more of like a soft release, you know. I just dropped that just to kind of like give the people something because I've been working so hard on this project. And I'm finally to the point where like, all right, like I'm ready to start rolling some shit out. Like I have a photo shoot for my next single on Tuesday, which is in like a couple days. So I'm finally getting ready. That was just one of those things like just to throw out there. It's just like a teaser almost, you know.
Do you do you have a name for the project you're working on right now?
I have a rough idea of a couple ones, but I don't want to spoil it just yet.
Is it an EP or is it a full length project?
Um, so part of it, like it feels like I feel like it could be two or three EPs. Um, but part of me wants to just roll it out as a full album. I don't know, more will be revealed, but I have so much fucking music, like so much music, bro. I have just been stockpiling and gatekeeping for the past year, dude. Just like a lot. There's a lot of shit.
I mean, that's perfect though, because people's attention span is so short. You're gonna drop that EP, and they're gonna want some new shit next month. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. I'm just trying to get it to a point where I can start releasing consistently and keep that attention because this is gonna be the year that I go up. Like we're like a month and a half, 2 months into the year and it's already the best year of my life. And I feel it. You know what I mean? Like the energy is there, so I just want to continue on with that and keep riding that wave, you know? So that's where I am right now.
What other what other things you got lined up so far for 2024?
I mean, like I'm in talks about like some tours. I'm trying to get overseas, but it's so hard, dude. Like it's so expensive to like rent gear, get flights, yada yada. But I'm working it out. I got like like a couple different festivals lined up with, you know, Boston Calling included. You know what I'm saying? I got like another festival in Worcester with like Bone Thugs and Harmony. I got another one coming up in New York with the locks and millies. That's gonna be really cool.
That should be
And then like
crazy.
yeah, man, and then like a couple other things peppered in, you know. So I'm super excited. It's gonna be really dope. It's gonna be a good year.
I know you said you're a music guy, man. Even though you're doing like a pop type songs, what are some of the artists or music you listen to right now?
Right now, I mean, in regular rotation, like I'm always listening, always listening to like Radiohead. I'm always listening to Radiohead, Mac Miller, Frank Ocean, um, you know, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, Stevie Wonder. I'm always listening to those guys for sure. I was just listening to like Young Jeezy yesterday, like Thug Motivation, I think it's called. That's my shit. I just listened to the Carter 2, the Carter 3 yesterday. Absolute fucking classics. Um, I be all over the place with what I listen to. Honestly, I'm all over.
That's dope. I just wanted to know. I know, like I said, you used to listen to a lot of stuff, but now being an artist, I just wanted to see what type of music you was into.
Yeah, you definitely consume differently when you're a producer. You know what I mean? Like it sucks. It sucks. Like you don't listen to music the same anymore once you make it. If that makes sense. Like I
Because
wish that.
you're listening for different stuff, not just how everybody else is catching on just to catch on. You're listening for
Yeah.
tempos, cadences, flows, all that shit.
Right, exactly. So, you know, that's why I often revisit stuff that I listened to when I was a kid because it kind of takes me out of that, like, out of that world. Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm on right now, for sure.
Anything else you want to tell the people before we get up out of here?
Um, Nah, man, like other than like if you want to do something, just go for it. You know what I mean? Just fucking go for it. And like there's always going to be these like roadblocks, there's always going to be obstacles, there's always going to be reasons why you can't. But like there's always a way out. You know what I mean? There's always a way to do something. It's a matter of like finding that way, finding the plan and sticking to the plan and not diverting no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So like um that's all I really got. You know, if I could fucking do it, like you can. Like I shouldn't even be alive today. You know, not even close. We're all on fucking borrowed time at the end of the day. So it's just a matter of what you do with it and how you make other people feel too. It's really important. You know.
Well, I'm glad you were able to share your story, man, and I'm glad that your story helps other people with addictions and with other things and help them get through it. Because I know a lot of people sometimes they just don't got no voice or they don't got nobody to talk to them about the shit, so it be
Yeah, for
tough on them.
sure.
So it's dope that you can use your music and your platform for that, man. That's dope.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you for having me too. I appreciate. I'm glad we like worked it out. I know there were some like fucking link issues
Yeah,
and shit like that. I've never used this app before, so but this is good.
yeah, man. I appreciate you, man, and we definitely link up soon. I'm gonna try anytime I see you come around close. I'm gonna come and holler at you, come check you out again.
Yeah, man. I'm sure I'll be back around that way soon enough, bro. I know it.
Hell yeah. If you, full episode will be available on YouTube. Go to Smoke Session with Squirrel on YouTube. Check out the full interview. Go follow Justin Clancy, man. Very dope artist. And yeah, just be ready for new music. He said he got tons of shit. He be bringing it to you.
Tons of shit. Tons of shit.
Yeah, man. I
Let's go.
appreciate you, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Deal, bro. Thank you again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.